Section 1. The Museum After Closing. Tonight, we are going to visit a museum that does not appear on any city map. Its doors open only after the ordinary visitors have gone home, when the footsteps in the galleries have faded and the glass cases hold nothing but their own reflections. This museum contains bedrooms, not modern rooms with familiar mattresses and bedside lamps, but sleeping places from other centuries and distant parts of the world. Some are painted like gardens. Some are enclosed like cupboards. One is warmed by fire beneath the floor. Another moves through darkness on iron rails. There is no need to remember every date or name. History may pass around you gently, like scenery outside a quiet window. You may notice a carved post, a curtain, a wooden headrest, or the glow of embers beneath brick. Then you may let the detail go. The entrance hall is dim. A caretaker has left a small lamp on a desk, though the caretaker is nowhere to be seen. Ahead, a corridor curves beneath a painted sign, "Rooms for the Night." You place your hand on the cool brass rail and begin to walk. The museum is silent, but not empty. Behind every door, someone from another age has prepared a place to sleep. Section 1. The Museum After Closing. Tonight, we are going to visit a museum that does not appear on any city map. Its doors open only after the ordinary visitors have gone home, when the footsteps in the galleries have faded and the glass cases hold nothing but their own reflections. This museum contains bedrooms, not modern rooms with familiar mattresses and bedside lamps, but sleeping places from other centuries and distant parts of the world. Some are painted like gardens. Some are enclosed like cupboards. One is warmed by fire beneath the floor. Another moves through darkness on iron rails. There is no need to remember every date or name. History may pass around you gently, like scenery outside a quiet window. You may notice a carved post, a curtain, a wooden headrest, or the glow of embers beneath brick. Then you may let the detail go. The entrance hall is dim. A caretaker has left a small lamp on a desk, though the caretaker is nowhere to be seen. Ahead, a corridor curves beneath a painted sign, "Rooms for the Night." You place your hand on the cool brass rail and begin to walk. The museum is silent, but not empty. Behind every door, someone from another age has prepared a place to sleep. Section 3. Room of Painted Dawn. The ancient Egyptian room is smaller than many modern bedrooms. Its walls are made from mud brick and coated with pale plaster. The floor is cool beneath your feet. There are no wardrobes filled with rows of clothing, no mirrors covering the wall, and no pile of objects waiting to be organized. A wooden bed frame stands on short legs. Woven cords stretch across it to support a mattress or folded layers of linen. The surface is firm. At the foot, the frame rises slightly, helping prevent the sleeper from sliding. Near the wall rests a chest containing cloth, jewelry, and small personal items. A pottery jar holds water. Another may contain scented oil. The arrangement is practical, but not without beauty. The legs of a wealthy person's bed might be carved like those of an animal, transforming the furniture into a quiet guardian. Outside, the Nile Valley is still dark, yet the eastern sky has begun to brighten. This daily return of light mattered deeply in Egyptian thought. Sleep could resemble a short journey into darkness, followed by renewal when the sun rose again. You stand beside the bed and imagine the room before dawn. Linen cool against skin, a wooden headrest beneath the neck, distant birds beginning near the river, and the first line of sunlight reaching the plaster wall. Section 4. The Wooden Crescent. You look more closely at the headrest. It has a flat base, a narrow central support, and a curved upper piece shaped like a shallow crescent. The curve would cradle the neck rather than the back of the head. To someone accustomed to a soft pillow, it seems severe. Yet it served several purposes. It lifted the head away from insects and dust. It allowed air to move around the sleeper during warm nights. It could also help preserve carefully arranged hair. The smooth wood shows how often it has been touched. A folded strip of linen may once have softened the surface. The sleeper would turn carefully, finding a position learned through habit rather than through written instruction. Headrests were also connected with protection. Some carried images or symbols intended to guard the vulnerable sleeper. In Egyptian belief, night was not merely empty time. It had its own dangers, dreams, and transformations. You rest your fingers lightly on the curved top. The shape resembles a horizon, with the head rising above it like the sun between two hills. It is both furniture and symbol, practical object, and quiet promise. The idea of sleeping on wood no longer seems quite as strange. Comfort is partly material, but it is also memory. The body learns what safety feels like. For this room, safety is cool linen, a raised head, and dawn returning over the river. Section 5, Night Guardians. Along the wall, you notice small protective figures. One has the broad face of Bees, a household deity associated with protection, music, childbirth, and the home. His appearance may seem fierce, but the fierceness is turned outward, toward whatever might disturb the family. A bedroom can reveal what people fear as clearly as what they find comfortable. Modern sleepers lock doors, draw curtains, set alarms, and keep water nearby. Ancient sleepers also created boundaries around the night, using objects, words, and images. The room's darkness is not complete. Moonlight enters through the high opening. A clay lamp may be lit briefly, but oil is precious, and most of the night belongs to shadow. Someone sleeping here would hear the house breathe around them. A jar cools, wood settles, a reed mat shifts. From the courtyard comes the faint movement of an animal. Beyond the walls, the river continues its patient course. The headrest holds the neck. The bed frame lifts the body above the floor. Protective signs watch from the wall. Together, these simple things create a small island of order. You step backward toward the doorway. The bedroom remains behind you, waiting for sunrise. As the door closes, the warm desert air fades and the museum corridor returns. Section 6, Leaving the Nile. The first key has changed in your hand. Its crescent shape is now smooth and dark, as though it has absorbed the night of the room you have just left. Across the corridor, another door stands open. Cool air moves through it, carrying the scent of painted plaster, olive oil, and a garden after rain. You cross the threshold and enter a Roman villa near the Bay of Naples. The bedroom, called a cubiculum, is not large, yet its walls seem to open far beyond the room. Painted columns rise against a deep red background. Between them appear terraces, fountains, fruit, delicate buildings, and distant landscapes. The actual walls remain close enough to touch, but the paintings persuade the eye that another world continues beyond them. A bed would once have stood against one side, perhaps accompanied by a small chest or lampstand. The sleeper lay in a compact chamber, while imaginary architecture expanded into distance. This is a different solution to the limits of a bedroom. The Egyptian room used symbols to protect the sleeper. The Roman room uses illusion to enlarge the night. You move toward the painted garden, though you know it is only pigment on plaster. The next strange bedroom is a room that refuses to admit where its walls truly end. Section 7, the bedroom that pretended to be a garden. The Roman cubiculum belonged to a villa buried when Vesuvius erupted in the 1st century. Its painted walls survived because the disaster that destroyed the surrounding life also sealed parts of it away. The room is narrow, but its decoration is ambitious. Slender painted columns frame views that cannot exist. A bowl of fruit appears to rest on a ledge. Beyond it lies a fountain beneath an arbor, rocky ground, and fragments of distant architecture. When the lamps were lit, the painted surfaces would have changed. Flame would make columns tremble and shadows move across imaginary terraces. The bedroom might seem to breathe. Roman houses were organized differently from many modern homes. Rooms could have several uses, and privacy depended on wealth, household structure, and time of day. A cubiculum might be used for sleep, private conversation, reading, or business with selected visitors. The bed itself was not always the central spectacle. The walls carried the greater dream. They transformed enclosure into openness, placing the sleeper between reality and illusion. You imagine lying in the room while rain touches the villa roof. The real garden outside is dark, yet the painted garden remains permanently calm, its fruit forever ripe, its fountain forever clear, and its sky untouched by weather. Section 9. A small Roman night. The villa has settled. Servants have extinguished lamps in the larger rooms. Courtyards that held conversation during the day are now open to the stars. Inside the cubiculum, the sleeper prepares for night. Sandals are placed beside the bed. A garment is folded over a stool. Jewelry may be stored in a small container. Water waits in a cup. The bed frame supports a mattress filled with wool, plant fiber, or other available material. Blankets depend on the season. The room may feel warm during summer and unexpectedly cool during winter rain. From nearby comes the faint sound of another person moving through the house. Roman domestic life could be crowded, especially where family members, guests, servants, and enslaved workers occupied connected spaces. A bedroom did not always guarantee isolation. Yet the cubiculum creates a pause within the larger household. The door closes, the lamp dims, painted terraces replace the activity beyond the walls. You notice how small the real room is compared with the world imagined upon it. Perhaps that is the bedroom's quiet purpose, not to contain all of life, but to reduce life to a scale that can be rested from. The sleeper lies down. The villa disappears into darkness. Only the painted garden remains, unseen but patiently waiting for morning light. Section 8. Walls beyond the walls. You walk slowly around the Roman bedroom. The painted architecture follows you, adjusting itself to your changing view. Columns that appeared solid from the doorway become thin layers of color when approached. This style asks the eye to participate. The wall is both barrier and invitation. It closes the room physically while opening it imaginatively. Bedrooms have often done this. A canopy creates a smaller sky above a bed. Curtains form temporary walls. Painted landscapes offer a view where no window exists. Even patterned fabric can lead the half-awake mind into forests, flowers, and repeated geometry. Near the floor, the painted details are darker. Higher up, the room seems lighter. The arrangement guides attention away from the sleeping platform and toward the invented horizon. Clay oil lamp rests in a niche. Its flame is small, barely enough to illuminate one section at a time. In such light, the bedroom would never be seen all at once. A fountain appears, then vanishes. A painted column emerges from shadow. A red wall becomes almost black. Perhaps this partial view made the illusion stronger. Darkness completed what the artist began. You sit briefly where the bed might have stood. The room is quiet. Around you, painted architecture keeps watch, offering the sleeper the strange luxury of traveling nowhere while surrounded by imagined distance. Section 10. Buried and remembered. Before leaving, you look once more at the painted walls. They survived in fragments, removed from the buried villa, and carried into a museum far from the landscape where they were made. A bedroom is usually private and temporary. Bedding wears out. Furniture is moved. Rooms are repainted. Yet this Roman chamber crossed 2,000 years and became public, allowing strangers to stand where a sleeper once closed their eyes. There is something gentle in that survival. The unknown person who rested here could not imagine you. You cannot know the shape of their dreams, but the room creates a narrow bridge between you. You both understand evening. You both know the act of setting aside clothing, lowering a lamp, and listening as a household grows quiet. The painted garden is strange, but the need beneath it is familiar. The door behind you begins to glow with museum light. When you step through, the villa fades. The corridor now smells faintly of smoke, wool, and cold stone. Ahead is a heavy timber door reinforced with iron. From beyond, it comes the low murmur of many people sharing one large room. The next bedroom is not truly a bedroom yet. It is a place where sleep must be created inside a hall that belongs to everyone. Section 11, the hall before bedrooms. You enter a medieval hall after the evening meal. The tables have been cleared, though the scent of bread, smoke, and roasted onions remains in the air. A fire burns low in a central hearth. High above, darkness gathers among roof beams. This building contains chambers, but not enough for every person who lives or works here. Privacy is limited. Servants, attendants, guards, guests, and family members sleep in different parts of the household according to rank and circumstance. Some lie on pallets or mats that can be rolled out when the day's activity ends. Others sleep on benches, chests, or simple frames. The best bed belongs to the most important people, but even that bed may stand in a chamber used for receiving visitors and conducting business. The modern idea that every person should have a separate room is absent. Space is expensive to build and difficult to heat. People sleep near one another because the household is both community and protection. At the far end of the hall, attendants carry folded bedding toward a raised area. They are turning public space into sleeping space. A woven screen blocks one view. A curtain is hung from a beam. A chest is moved beside a pallet. Each small action creates a boundary where no permanent wall exists. The medieval bedroom is not always a fixed room. Sometimes it appears only after darkness, assembled from fabric, furniture, and custom. Section 12, curtains make a room. You follow an attendant through a side door into a stone chamber. Here stands a substantial bed with tall posts and a wooden tester above it. Heavy curtains hang from the frame. When the curtains are open, the bed dominates the room. When they are closed, the bed becomes a room of its own. The fabric traps some warmth around the sleeper, softens drafts, and offers privacy in a chamber where servants or companions may remain nearby. It also displays wealth. Fine woven hangings require skilled labor, valuable dyes, and careful maintenance. The mattress is built in layers. Ropes or woven supports hold sacks filled with straw, wool, feathers, or a combination chosen according to status. Linen sheets may cover them. Blankets and furs provide warmth. You draw one curtain halfway. The world outside becomes narrower. Firelight reaches the fabric but not the center of the bed. Sounds from the chamber grow softer. This is architecture made from cloth. It can be opened at dawn, tied back during the day, repaired, packed, and moved. A castle wall may be thick, but the final boundary around sleep is flexible. Inside the curtains, the sleeper hears wind at the shutters and voices beyond the door. Yet the small fabric room creates the feeling of shelter. The bed does not merely stand within the bedroom. For several hours, the bed becomes the bedroom. Section 13. The traveling bed. Near the wall, servants prepare a large chest. Within it, they place folded hangings, covers, cushions, and personal linen. The most valuable parts of a noble bed may travel when the household moves between residences. A wealthy medieval household is often mobile. The owner may spend part of the year at one estate and then journey to another. Furniture, textiles, documents, tableware, and clothing move with them. The bed therefore carries identity. Its hangings transform an unfamiliar chamber into a recognizable private space. Wherever the fabric is raised, the sleeper is surrounded by familiar colors, patterns, and symbols. You imagine arriving at a cold manor after days on the road. The chamber smells of stone and old smoke. The window rattles, yet servants unfold the bed curtains, spread the cover, arrange the cushions, and place personal objects beside the mattress. Slowly, the strange room becomes yours. Modern travelers carry small versions of the same comfort: a familiar shirt, a particular pillow, a book, a scent, or a nightly routine. The objects may differ, but the purpose remains. The attendants close the chest. The bed stands ready beneath its hanging canopy. It is large, decorated, and difficult to move, yet its soft surroundings have already crossed miles. This bedroom is strange because part of it is luggage. Section 14. Night in a castle. The castle quiets slowly. A guard crosses the courtyard below. Wind presses against the shutters. Somewhere in the wall, a small animal moves through a hidden space. Inside the chamber, the fire has burned down to red coals. A servant checks the lamp and leaves. Another person may sleep on a pallet near the door, ready to respond if called. The bed curtains are closed. Within them, the air is warmer than the room. Wool, linen, wood smoke, and beeswax create the scent of night. It is tempting to imagine old castles as continuously grand, but comfort depends on details. Whether the mattress is dry, whether the chimney draws properly, whether the wind finds a gap, whether insects have entered the bedding, and whether someone nearby snores. History's strangest bedrooms were not strange to the people who used them. They were practical arrangements shaped by climate, architecture, wealth, danger, and custom. You listen as the hall outside becomes still. The fabric around the bed barely moves. Beyond it, stone walls hold the cold. Within it, a human body creates its own small climate. When you open the chamber door, the museum corridor returns. Across from you stands a bed so large that it seems to have escaped from a story about giants. Section 16. A bed wider than a room. You climb the small steps beside the great bed of ware. The mattress is high, layered above ropes and frame. From this height, the chamber appears smaller. A normal bed organizes a room around 1 or 2 sleepers. This bed changes the scale. Curtains could enclose a space larger than many household chambers. Its canopy forms a wooden ceiling beneath the actual ceiling. Imagine several travelers sharing it during a crowded night. Each person brings clothing, road dust, breath, and the habits of their own sleep. One prefers the edge. Another turns repeatedly. Someone speaks before dreaming. Someone else falls asleep immediately. Shared beds were not always unusual. Inns, households, and journeys required people to accept forms of closeness that later generations might find uncomfortable. Warmth, cost, and limited space made privacy negotiable. The great bed turns that ordinary practice into spectacle. It makes sharing impossible to ignore. You press one hand into the reconstructed bedding. It yields slowly. Above, the dark canopy holds shadows. Along the carved frame are faint marks left by visitors, evidence that people wanted to place themselves inside the bed's history. Perhaps the strangest part is not the size. It is the knowledge that a private act became a public boast. To sleep here was to join a story that would be repeated after morning. Section 15, The Inn at Ware. The next gallery resembles an English coaching inn from the late 16th century. Rain touches the windows. Travelers have arrived with muddy boots, damp cloaks, and news from the road. At the center of the upper chamber stands the great bed of Ware. It is more than 3 meters wide, carved from oak, and supported by enormous posts. The canopy rises like the roof of a small building. The bed was made not for a palace but for an inn. Its size became famous. Travelers spoke of it, writers mentioned it, and visitors left marks in the wood. You walk around one corner post. It is thick enough to resemble a tree trunk. Painted decoration and carving cover the structure. The mattress extends so far that reaching the center would require crawling. How many people slept in it at once is difficult to know with certainty. Stories grew around the bed because an ordinary answer would never seem large enough. The strange room is shaped by reputation. Guests may have paid for the experience of sleeping in a bed already known beyond the town. Outside, rain continues on the inn roof. Below, horses settle in the stable. Above, the giant bed waits, not merely as furniture, but as an attraction, a challenge, and a story that can be slept inside. Section 17, Names in the Timber. The oak posts carry initials and names cut by generations of visitors. Some marks are deep and confident. Others are faint, nearly lost beneath later scratches. Museums usually ask us not to touch objects, and certainly not to carve them. Yet these old marks have become part of the bed's history. They record a time when travelers treated the famous furniture as a surface on which to announce, "I was here." Bedrooms often collect traces. A floor wears beside the bed. Fabric fades where morning light reaches it. A mattress remembers the shape of a body. A child measures height against a door frame. Most traces disappear when a room is redecorated. Here, they remained in the timber. You follow one carved line with your eyes. The person who made it may have slept in the bed, visited it, or simply wanted connection to its fame. Their identity is now reduced to a few letters, but the gesture remains understandable. The bed offered a night of shelter. The visitor offered a mark in return. Rainwater runs down the inn window. Candlelight catches the carved surface, making the old names appear and disappear. You imagine the room empty after every guest has left. The bedding is aired. Curtains are tied back. Yet the posts continue holding the presence of people who could not resist writing themselves into the furniture. Section 18, The Last Guest Settles. The inn has grown quiet. The final traveler climbs the stairs with a candle protected by one hand. They pause at the sight of the bed, though they have heard about it all evening. Boots are removed. A cloak is hung near the fire. The traveler chooses one side of the enormous mattress, leaving an absurd amount of empty space beyond. The candle is extinguished, curtains close. The celebrated bed becomes dark and ordinary. Fame cannot prevent the practical difficulties of sleep. The traveler adjusts the blanket, listens to the inn creak, and wonders whether anyone else will enter. A horse stamps below. Rain settles into a steady rhythm. Soon the size of the bed becomes irrelevant. In darkness, the sleeper knows only the small area beneath their body, the edge of the pillow, and the warmth of the covering. Even the grandest bed is experienced one breath at a time. You leave the traveler there and step into the corridor. The next door is much smaller. It looks like the front of a wooden cupboard, complete with panels and a latch. When the latch lifts, you expect shelves. Instead, you find bedding. The next bedroom is not furnished with a cabinet. The bedroom is inside the cabinet. Section 19, the cupboard door. The wooden doors open onto a box bed, also called a closed bed or closet bed. It is built into the wall of a farmhouse room. A mattress fills the enclosed space, raised above the floor. From outside, it resembles a large cabinet. From inside, it becomes a compact sleeping chamber. Box beds appeared in several parts of Europe and remained in use for centuries. In houses where many activities occurred in one main room, the enclosed bed created privacy without requiring a separate bedroom. It also helped conserve warmth. The sleeper's body heated a smaller volume of air, while wooden panels and curtains reduced drafts. You bend to look inside. The space is shorter than a modern bed, though people were not necessarily expected to sit fully upright all night. Bedding could be arranged so sleepers rested comfortably within the available length. A small shelf holds a candle, though leaving a flame inside would be dangerous. The doors might remain partly open for air. The box bed feels both cozy and confining. It offers the security of a nest, but the darkness of a cupboard. A family works and eats only a few steps away. When night comes, one member climbs behind the doors. The room continues outside, but the sleeper has disappeared into the furniture. Section 20, sleeping inside the wall. You crawl carefully into the box bed. Wood surrounds you on 3 sides and above. The opening frames the farmhouse room like a stage. From here, ordinary objects seem farther away. The table, the hearth, hanging tools, and a cradle near the wall. Closing the doors would remove them from sight without moving anything. This is a bedroom created by subtraction. Instead of building new walls around the sleeper, the house carves a small hollow into existing space. Children may share one enclosed bed while adults use another. Some box beds are stacked or arranged beside storage cupboards. Every part of the wall serves more than one purpose. The mattress smells faintly of straw and wool. A woven blanket lies folded at the foot. The ceiling is close enough to touch. You imagine winter outside. Wind moves across fields and finds every weakness in the farmhouse walls. The main room cools after the fire lowers. Inside the box, warmth remains longer. Privacy and heat arrive together, purchased with reduced space. For a modern sleeper, the enclosure may feel unusual. Yet many people now seek similar comfort in sleeping alcoves, tented beds, bunk curtains, and small rooms. The desire to be gently enclosed has never disappeared. You leave the doors open and rest for a moment within the wall. Section 21, warmth, privacy, and breath. The box bed raises an obvious question. How much air enters when the doors close? In practice, panels could include openings, doors could remain partly ajar, and construction varied from place to place. The bed was not an airtight container. Still, the sleeper would have been aware of the balance between warmth and ventilation. A farmhouse night includes other concerns. Smoke from the hearth, damp clothing, animals nearby, and several people sharing a room all influence the air. The box bed does not create perfect comfort. It creates a practical compromise. You notice small gaps where the doors meet. A thread of firelight enters through them. From inside, the outside world becomes a collection of narrow lines. Someone crosses the room, visible only as changing shadow. A cup is placed on the table. The hearth settles. Enclosure changes sound. Voices become lower. Wind becomes distant. The sleeper hears their own breathing more clearly. This may be one reason enclosed beds feel secure. They reduce the world to a manageable size. The night remains outside the doors, even if only a few centimeters away. You push one panel gently. It moves with a soft wooden sound. The opening widens, and cool air reaches your face. The strange cupboard bedroom has taught the same lesson as the medieval curtains. Sleep often begins by creating a smaller room within a larger one. Section 22. The farmhouse at midnight. The family has gone to bed. One box closes near the hearth. Another remains open while a parent settles a child beneath the blanket. The main room changes after the last lamp is extinguished. During the day it held cooking, repair, conversation, and work. At night, furniture reveals hidden sleeping places. Inside the wooden compartments, the family is separated but still close. A cough can be heard across the room. A child can call without crossing a cold passage. If the fire needs attention, someone is near. Rain begins softly on the roof. The sound reaches the sleepers through timber, plaster, and bedding. The box bed may look strange in a museum, removed from the life that made it sensible. Here, within the farmhouse, it belongs perfectly. It saves warmth, space, and building material. It offers a curtain of wood where no private chamber exists. You stand beside the banked hearth and listen. Behind one panel, breathing becomes slow. Behind another, someone turns in the straw mattress. The museum door appears beside the cupboard. When you step through, the farmhouse darkness gives way to gold, mirrors, and polished marble. The next bedroom is larger than many houses, yet its occupant may experience less privacy than the family you have just left. Section 23. The bed at the center. You enter the king's bedchamber at Versailles. The room is richly decorated, but the bed commands everything. It stands behind a balustrade, raised and framed by fabric, carving, and ceremony. This is not simply where a monarch sleeps. It is a stage of government. The room lies near the symbolic center of the palace. Courtiers move through connected chambers according to rank and permission. Every position matters. Who may enter, who must remain beyond the rail, who may hand the king a garment, and who is allowed to witness particular moments. The bed faces the room like a throne lying down. You walk across the polished floor. Tall windows overlook the palace. Paintings, gilding, and patterned textiles reflect candlelight, yet the arrangement draws your attention back to the sleeping place. Private bedroom normally protects the sleeper from observation. This bedroom organizes observation. The strangest feature is not the canopy or embroidery. It is the transformation of waking and retiring into public ritual. A door opens at the far side. Quiet footsteps approach. The palace is preparing for the king's morning ceremony, the lever, when selected courtiers will enter in carefully ordered stages. Section 24. Waking before an audience. Curtains around the royal bed remain closed. In nearby rooms, attendants wait for the correct moment. The palace has been awake for hours, even though the king is only beginning his day. The lever is not one simple event. Access unfolds in degrees. Certain servants enter first. Other courtiers are admitted later according to privilege and rank. The king's body is private in theory but political in practice. Dressing becomes ceremony. A shirt is not merely clothing. The right to present it is an honor. A chair, a candle, and a basin all belong to an ordered performance. You stand beyond the balustrade, invisible to everyone. Voices remain low, fabric moves, curtains open. The bedchamber fills without becoming chaotic. Each person knows where to stand. The room functions like a clock made from human rolls. For the king, waking cannot be entirely unguarded. The first moments of morning belong partly to the court. This arrangement may appear luxurious, but it carries its own confinement. The monarch sleeps in the grandest room, yet cannot rise as an ordinary person might, slowly and alone. The bedroom has become an office. The bed is furniture, symbol, and center of gravity. As more light enters the chamber, the king leaves for the duties of the day. The bed remains behind, still holding the shape of authority. Section 25. Going to bed in public. Hours pass within the museum, and the chamber changes from morning to night. Candles multiply. Courtiers gather again for the coucher, the going-to-bed ceremony. The ritual reverses the morning. Garments are removed in order. Selected attendants perform tasks whose importance comes not from difficulty, but from closeness to the king. A modern sleeper might close the door, lower the light, and escape the expectations of the day. Here, expectations follow the monarch to the edge of sleep. The bed curtains wait like the final boundary. Only when they close can the room begin to become private. You watch reflections move across mirrors and polished surfaces. The palace beyond is still active. Messages travel through corridors. Guards change position. Fires are tended. The king's bedchamber is strange because rest itself confirms power. The public sees the monarch withdraw and return, night after night, as though the kingdom depends upon the rhythm. At last, the most privileged figures leave. The balustrade separates the empty room from the bed. Candles are reduced. Silence grows, but it is never complete. Servants remain nearby. Guards stand beyond doors. The palace listens to the sleeping king. The curtains close. Ceremony ends only a few inches from the pillow. Section 26. The Queen's Chamber. A connecting gallery leads to the Queen's bedchamber. It is bright with floral fabric, gilded carving, and a high canopy. Hidden doors blend into the decorated walls. This room also combines private life with public duty. Queens received visitors here, followed court ceremonies, and gave birth in a setting shaped by dynastic expectation. A royal birth was not treated as an entirely private medical event. Witnesses helped establish that the child was truly born to the queen, protecting the line of succession from suspicion. The bedroom therefore became one of the most politically important rooms in Europe. Behind its beauty were waiting courtiers, physicians, attendants, anxiety, and the future of a dynasty. You stand near the bed and imagine the room during a quiet, ordinary night instead. Curtains drawn, candles low, embroidered flowers fading into shadow. Even then, doors lead toward service passages and neighboring apartments. Privacy remains layered rather than absolute. The room is strange not because people slept differently, but because so many public meanings gathered around the bed. Marriage, birth, rank, continuity, and the performance of royal life. You notice one concealed doorway and understand how urgently it might be needed when the palace ceased to feel safe. A bedroom can be sanctuary, theater, and escape route at the same time. Section 27. Silence after etiquette. The palace finally sleeps. The galleries are empty except for guards. Candles burn in carefully chosen places, leaving long intervals of darkness between them. Within the royal bedchamber, decorative fabric hangs motionless. The rail that controlled access during the day now separates nothing from no one. You walk to the center of the room. Without ceremony, the scale feels different. The ceiling is high, the windows tall, and the bed strangely distant from the ordinary human body it was made to hold. Grand bedrooms can magnify loneliness. Their space does not always produce ease. A small box bed wraps closely around a family. A royal chamber places a single sleeper at the center of architecture, etiquette, and expectation. Yet sleep reduces rank. Beneath fabric and title, breathing slows in the same way. Dreams ignore the balustrade. The museum corridor appears through the mirrored doors. Before leaving, you look back at the bed. By morning, it will once again become a stage. For a few hidden hours, It is only a place where one tired person lies in darkness. The next gallery offers a more intimate version of French luxury. A rounded canopy rises above a bed placed sideways against the wall, its supports curving upward like branches toward a small crown. Section 28, the bed beneath a crown. This is a lit La Polonaise, a Polish-style bed fashionable in 18th century France. Its name suggests distant influence, though the design belongs to the imaginative language of European interiors. Unlike a full rectangular canopy supported by 4 tall posts, this bed has a smaller crown above it. Curved rods rise from the corners and meet overhead, lifting drapery into a compact dome. The bed stands with its long side against the wall, often within an alcove or private chamber. The arrangement creates a theatrical shape without requiring the scale of a state bed. You walk around the foot, fabric falls in generous folds, cushions gather near the head. The canopy resembles a tent transformed into furniture. The design makes the bed appear sheltered and exposed at once. Curtains can close, but the curved framework also presents the sleeper as the center of a decorative composition. In daylight, silk and carved wood display color and craftsmanship. At night, the hanging fabric softens sound and encloses warmth. The bed is strange because it seems to float beneath its crown, halfway between a pavilion, a stage, and a nest. You sit beside it without disturbing the arrangement. The room smells faintly of wax, perfume, and old textile. Outside the alcove, everything is formal. Beneath the canopy, luxury curves inward toward sleep. Section 29, a room designed around fabric. The bedchamber's textiles do not end at the bed. Window curtains, upholstered chairs, wall coverings, and bed hangings may be coordinated, turning the whole room into one continuous field of pattern. Fabric changes architecture without rebuilding it. It softens hard surfaces, controls light, reduces drafts, and announces fashion. It also demands care. Dust settles, colors fade, silk tears. Every elegant fold requires cleaning, repair, and skilled hands. You imagine attendants opening the bed curtains in the morning and arranging them so each side falls correctly. Cushions are shaken, covers are smoothed. The bedroom is prepared not only for sleep, but to be seen. Private chamber can still be a place of display. Selected guests may be received near the bed. Conversation, dressing, reading, and correspondence occur within the room. The bed therefore belongs to daytime as much as night. You touch no fabric, but the textures surround you: damask, braid, fringe, polished wood, and cool metal fittings. When the lamps lower, pattern becomes shadow. The bright room collapses toward the small canopy above the mattress. The sleeper enters a decorative world built almost entirely from cloth. The walls remain where they were, yet the atmosphere has been remade. It is another room within a room, but one created for intimacy and style rather than survival from farmhouse cold. Section 30, Private Luxury. The French chamber quiets. A maid places a warming pan beneath the covers, moving it carefully so heat spreads without scorching the linen. Then the pan is removed before the sleeper enters. A glass of water waits on a small table. A candle stands within reach. The curtains are drawn around the bed, leaving a narrow opening for air. The lit La Polonaise may appear extravagant, but its purpose remains simple: to make the body feel protected enough to surrender consciousness. Luxury adds layers around the same basic need. Softness, warmth, fragrance, beauty, and service all attempt to smooth the passage into sleep. Yet too much comfort can become labor for someone else. The quiet perfection of the chamber depends upon servants carrying water, tending fires, cleaning fabric, and rising before the household. You listen for those unseen movements beyond the door. A bucket is set down. Steps cross a passage. A candle snuffer closes. The sleeper sees only the finished room. When you leave, the crowned canopy remains in darkness, its curves barely visible. The museum corridor ahead is colder. Frost appears along the next doorway. Beyond it lies a northern Chinese home in winter, where the strangest part of the bedroom is not above the sleeper, but underneath. Section 31, the warm platform. You enter a room with whitewashed walls, paper-covered windows, and a broad raised platform built from brick. This is a kang, a heated platform used for sitting and sleeping in northern China. A stove in the adjoining area sends hot gases through channels beneath the platform before they exit through a chimney. The masonry stores heat and releases it slowly into the room. Bedding is spread across the kang at night and folded away during the day. A low table may be placed on top for meals, conversation, sewing, or tea. The platform is therefore not merely a bed. It is part of the architecture and a center of domestic life. You place your hand against the warm surface. Heat rises evenly, unlike the sharp warmth of an open fire. Outside, winter wind moves across the courtyard. Inside, the brick beneath you holds yesterday's flame. A modern bed is usually movable. This bed cannot be carried through a doorway. It belongs to the house as completely as the wall. The room seems simple, but the heating path beneath it is carefully planned. Fire travels invisibly below sleeping bodies. You remove your shoes and sit at the edge. Warmth reaches through the folded mat. The cold beyond the paper window becomes distant. This bedroom is strange, because the floor itself has learned how to keep a family warm. Section 32, a bedroom that was also a living room. During the day, the kang is not hidden behind a closed bedroom door. Family members sit upon it, share food, work, talk, and receive familiar visitors. A low table rests near the center. Cushions support those seated around it. Bedding has been folded against one wall, transforming the sleeping platform into a living space. This flexible use reflects a different understanding of rooms. A single area changes purpose with the hour. Furniture moves. Textiles are unfolded and stored. The boundary between bedroom and sitting room is created by routine rather than permanent labels. Near the stove, someone adds fuel. The heat entering the channels must be managed carefully. Too little leaves the platform cold. Too much makes it uncomfortable. Children choose the warmest area. Older family members may receive preferred places. At night, several people can sleep across the broad surface. You imagine conversations slowly ending. The table is removed. Mats are arranged. Quilts unfold in bright blocks of color. Within minutes, the room has changed. The kang offers efficiency, but also closeness. Family life gathers around the same warm structure from morning until sleep. You lie back briefly, feeling heat beneath your shoulders. Instead of pulling warmth over the body, as a blanket does, the room sends warmth upward from below. Outside, snow begins. Inside, the platform remembers the fire. Section 33, fire beneath the sleeper. The idea of sleeping above fire sounds dangerous, yet the flame itself does not burn directly beneath the bedding. Heat and smoke travel through enclosed channels in the masonry. The system depends on construction, maintenance, and experience. Channels must draw correctly. Fuel must be suitable. Ash and soot require attention. Every heating method carries risk. Open braziers can release fumes. Fireplaces throw sparks. Bed warmers can scorch cloth. The kang turns the problem into architecture, separating the sleeper from the flame while capturing its heat. You follow the invisible path in your imagination. From stove, through brick passages, beneath the platform, and toward the chimney. By the time the gases travel the route, much of their warmth has entered the masonry. The result is slow comfort rather than sudden heat. A sleeping child places one hand against the warm surface. An adult adjusts a quilt. The coldest part of the night arrives, but the platform changes only gradually. There is something reassuring in heat stored within solid material. Even after the fire lowers, the bricks continue their work. The bedroom does not glow or crackle. Its warmth is almost silent. You listen to winter wind beyond the wall and feel the contrast beneath your body. The strangest bed in the room is also the quietest stove. Section 34, Winter in Northern China. The household sleeps side by side across the kang. Quilts create separate islands of color, but warmth is shared through the platform beneath them. The paper window admits a faint blue light from snow. Inside, breath is visible only near the coldest corner. The center of the room remains comfortable. Someone wakes briefly to listen to the wind. The stove has gone quiet, yet the brick is still warm. No one needs to rise immediately. The kang changes the shape of winter life. People gather where the heat is. Activities move onto the platform. Distance within the room is measured by temperature. You understand why a bed may become architecture when climate demands it. The object is strange only when separated from the cold it answers. As dawn approaches, one person folds a quilt and sets water near the stove. The sleeping room begins its return to daytime. The museum door appears within the white wall. On the other side, you hear wood creaking, rope tightening, and water moving against a hull. You step from the warm platform into the lower deck of a sailing ship. Above you, the ceiling is low. Around you hang rows of canvas hammocks. The next bedroom moves with the sea. Section 35, the deck of hanging beds. The ship's sleeping space is narrow, crowded, and filled with motion. Canvas hammocks hang from hooks or beams in rows, each shaped by the body inside it. During the day, the hammocks can be taken down and stored, freeing space for work. At night, the deck becomes a suspended dormitory. A hammock seems simple, a length of strong cloth or netting supported at both ends. Yet at sea, its flexibility is useful. As the ship rolls, the hammock swings, helping keep the sleeper more level than a rigid bunk might. You walk carefully between them. The floor rises and falls beneath your feet. Overhead, timber creaks under strain. Water moves along the hull with a continuous rushing sound. Sailors sleep close together. Privacy is almost absent. Clothing, boots, and small possessions remain within reach. The air carries salt, tar, damp canvas, and human breath. This is not a bedroom in the usual sense. It is a working deck temporarily converted for rest. One sailor climbs into a hammock and wraps the canvas around himself. The fabric tightens like a sling. The ship leans. Every hanging bed responds together, moving in a slow rhythm through darkness. You reach for a beam and let the motion pass beneath you. Section 37, a bedroom packed away at dawn. Before daylight, a call moves through the ship. Sailors wake, roll out of their hammocks, and begin clearing the deck. Bedding is folded. Canvas is gathered and tied. Within minutes, the bedroom disappears. The same space becomes a passage, work area, or place for equipment. Nothing remains to show that rows of people slept there except warmth in the air and a forgotten crease in the canvas. This transformation resembles the medieval hall and the Chinese kang room. Sleep does not always require a permanent chamber. It can arrive through routine and vanish through labor. On some ships, tightly rolled hammocks also had practical roles beyond comfort, including storage in designated areas. Every object aboard was expected to justify the space it occupied. You watch a sailor carry his rolled hammock away. His entire bedroom fits beneath one arm. The sea outside has turned gray. Water crosses the deck and runs toward a drain. Work resumes before the body has fully forgotten sleep. A room that exists only at night leaves little evidence, but it still shapes the people who use it. The sailor remembers which hook is his, which knot holds, and how the canvas feels after weeks at sea. You follow the last hammock toward the stair. The next museum door waits beyond it, marked with a brass railway emblem. Section 36, Learning the Motion. Sleeping in a hammock requires practice. The canvas curves around the body, and the correct position may be slightly diagonal rather than straight along the center. A new sailor may struggle to enter without tipping. Boots must be placed where they will not slide away. A blanket must remain secure as the hammock swings. But repetition teaches the body. Soon the movement that once prevented sleep becomes part of it. The ship's rhythm is never perfectly regular. Small waves create gentle motion. Larger seas lift the bow and drop it. Wind changes pressure in the rigging. Cargo shifts almost imperceptibly. The hammock translates these forces into a smaller swing. You stand beside one sleeper whose breathing remains steady despite the movement. The canvas creaks softly at its suspension points. On land, a moving bed might signal danger. At sea, complete stillness would feel impossible and perhaps unnatural. Comfort depends on expectation. The sailor trusts the knots, the hooks, the ship, and the familiar rhythm. A lantern moves overhead, throwing shadows across rows of hanging bodies. For a moment, the deck resembles a strange orchard of canvas shapes. Then the light passes, and only the sea remains audible. The bedroom is not resisting motion. It is sleeping inside it. Section 38, Night Watch. Before leaving the ship, you climb to the deck beneath a sky full of stars. Most of the crew sleeps below, but the watch remains awake. A ship can never surrender completely to night. Someone must observe wind, course, sails, lights, and changes in the sea. Below, hammocks swing in darkness. Above, footsteps cross wet timber. Rest and vigilance occupy the same vessel. The division of sleep into watches creates a different rhythm from life on land. One sailor wakes while another lies down. Night is not one continuous block, but a sequence of duty and recovery. You stand near the rail. The horizon is barely visible. Water reflects no fixed path, only brief fragments of starlight. The sleeping deck beneath you feels strangely safe because someone else is awake. Many bedrooms rely on this unseen arrangement. A household sleeps while a guard watches. A city rests while nurses, drivers, bakers, and engineers remain at work. Sleep is partly an act of trust in strangers. The ship turns gently. Far ahead, a light appears. When you step through the railway door, the sea's motion becomes the measured rhythm of wheels over track. A corridor stretches before you, lined with polished wood and curtained compartments. The bedroom is moving again, but this time across land. Section 39, The Palace on Rails. You enter a 19th century Pullman sleeping car. Brass fittings reflect shaded lamps. Carpets soften footsteps. Upholstered seats line the compartment, and polished wood makes the narrow space feel rich. The sleeping car was designed to transform long railway journeys. Instead of remaining upright through the night, passengers could sleep while the train continued toward another city. The idea seems ordinary now, but it changed the relationship between distance and rest. A traveler could close their eyes in one place and wake hundreds of miles away. During the evening, the car still resembles a sitting room. Passengers read newspapers, speak quietly, and watch stations pass beyond dark windows. An attendant moves along the aisle preparing the beds. Seats become lower berths. Upper berths fold down from the wall or ceiling. Curtains create small private spaces along the corridor. The architecture has been designed to change while moving. You stand beside a window. Telegraph poles pass in regular intervals. The track divides moonlit fields. The car is both hotel and machine, bedroom and transportation. Behind you, fabric snaps softly into place. A pillow appears where a seat had been. The palace on rails is preparing for night. Section 40, a seat becomes a bed. You watch the attendant convert a section. Cushions are rearranged. Fresh linen is spread. A blanket is folded neatly at the foot. Above, a panel opens and an upper berth descends. What looked like part of the wall reveals a second bed. This transformation must be repeated with speed and precision throughout the car. Passengers return to find that the social space of evening has become a row of sleeping compartments. The lower berth is wider and easier to reach. The upper berth requires a small ladder and confidence as the train moves. Curtains provide privacy, though sounds travel freely. A cough, turning page, whispered conversation, or opening door can be heard nearby. The passenger stores shoes beneath the berth and places valuables close. Clothing hangs from a hook. A small net or shelf holds minor objects. Every movement must account for limited space. You sit on the edge of the made bed. The mattress trembles with the track. The motion is more regular than the sea, but never absent. The wheels repeat their pattern beneath the floor. The body begins to anticipate it. The strangest part is how quickly the compartment becomes believable as a bedroom. A curtain closes, a lamp dims, and the railway aisle disappears. Only the movement reveals that the room has no fixed address. Section 41, curtains beside the corridor. The sleeping car is now dark except for low lamps along the aisle. Curtains line both sides, each hiding a narrow bed. Behind one, a passenger removes a watch and places it in a pocket. Behind another, someone adjusts the window shade. Farther down, the attendant helps a traveler reach an upper berth. Privacy is thin but respected. The curtain has no lock and blocks little sound, yet it signals a boundary. This boundary resembles the medieval bed hanging, the box bed door, and the canopy at Versailles. Across centuries, fabric repeatedly becomes architecture at night. You draw your own curtain. The space within is barely larger than your body. The ceiling feels low. A small lamp glows behind frosted glass. Outside, the corridor continues carrying footsteps and motion. Inside, you arrange the pillow and lie down. The window is only a short distance away. Beyond it, darkness moves rapidly backward. Trees appear and vanish. Distant houses hold single lights. The compartment offers a strange combination: enclosure without stillness, privacy without silence, and rest without stopping. You listen to wheels crossing a bridge. The sound deepens, echoes briefly, then returns to the familiar rhythm. The curtain sways but remains closed. Your temporary bedroom travels through the night. Section 42, the rhythm of the tracks. The train settles into a long, uninterrupted run. Stations become less frequent. Passengers sleep. The track creates a repeating sound, but never exactly the same. Curves alter the pressure. Points produce a brief sequence of sharper clicks. A distant whistle rises and fades. Some travelers find the motion soothing. Others remain awake, aware that speed continues beneath them. You imagine the map unfolding outside. Rivers, fields, factories, villages, and empty stretches pass without being seen. The sleeping passenger crosses geography without effort. This bedroom changes the meaning of morning. Waking does not simply reveal a new hour, it reveals a new place. The attendant remains awake for much of the night, tending the car and responding to passengers. As on the ship, one person's sleep depends upon another person's watchfulness. Near dawn, the wheels slow. The carriage leans gently as it enters a curve. A station lamp passes across the curtain, briefly illuminating the berth. You open the fabric and look into the corridor. Shoes wait beneath beds. Luggage rests overhead. The entire car appears to breathe. Soon, beds will become seats again. Bedding will be gathered, curtains tied back, and the night's private spaces erased. For now, the train continues, carrying a row of bedrooms toward morning. Section 43. What bedrooms were for? The railway carriage fades, and you return to the museum's final gallery. Around you stand fragments from every room: a wooden headrest, painted plaster, a curtain ring, carved oak, a box bed panel, a gilded rail, a brick from a kang, canvas from a hammock, and a brass berth latch. Placed together, they seem unrelated, yet each object answers the same questions. How can a body remain warm? How can a sleeper feel protected? Who may enter the space? What can be folded away when morning comes? Bedrooms are shaped by more than taste. Climate, wealth, architecture, family structure, work, travel, technology, and fear all influence the way people sleep. The strangest bedrooms are often the clearest solutions to local problems. A cupboard saves space. A heated platform stores warmth. A hammock responds to waves. A painted Roman wall creates distance inside a narrow room. Even ceremony has practical roots. The royal bedroom manages access and displays power. The giant in bed turns sleep into reputation and business. You move among the objects slowly. History no longer appears as a straight line from discomfort to comfort. Every age gains something and loses something. The gallery asks no final question. It simply lets the rooms rest beside one another. Section 44. The strangest room of all. At the center of the gallery stands an empty frame representing a modern bedroom. No mattress has been placed inside it. There is only a doorway, a window, and quiet floorboards. A small label asks which bedroom would seem strangest to a visitor from the past. An ancient Egyptian might find a mountain of soft pillows difficult to understand. A medieval traveler might wonder why one person occupies an entire room. A farmhouse family might be surprised that a bed remains unused throughout the day while another room is heated separately. A sailor might distrust a mattress that never moves. A Versailles courtier might find it extraordinary that a powerful person closes the bedroom door without witnesses. Modern comfort also contains oddities: glowing clocks, climate control, machines beside the pillow, curtains that block morning, and alarms designed to interrupt sleep at an exact minute. Strangeness depends on direction. We look backward and notice wooden pillows, cupboard doors, and beds above fire. The past might look forward and notice isolation, wasted space, and nights illuminated by screens. You stand within the empty frame. The room adjusts itself around you, neither ancient nor modern. It contains only what sleep requires: a safe place, enough warmth, breathable air, and permission to become unaware for a while. Perhaps the strangest bedroom is always the one whose habits we have not learned. Section 45. Returning through the gallery. The museum lights begin to dim. You walk back through the corridor, passing each closed door. Behind one, Nile air moves through a high window. Behind another, a painted Roman fountain remains forever still. Medieval curtains hold the last warmth of a fire. The great bed of ware stands empty beneath its carved canopy. The box bed door remains slightly open. At Versailles, a royal chamber waits between ceremonies. The crowned French canopy hangs above folded linen. The The Kang releases the final heat stored in its brick. Hammocks sway gently in the dark hull of a ship. Far away, a Pullman carriage crosses a sleeping landscape. Each room continues without you. You return the keys to the desk. They no longer feel separate. Bronze, iron, oak, fabric, brick, rope, and brass have all become part of one long night. The museum's entrance door opens onto darkness, but the darkness is calm. You have crossed thousands of years without needing to hurry. The caretaker's lamp is lower now. Beside it lies a final note. It says that every bedroom in the collection was once ordinary to someone. Every strange bed supported a tired body. Every unusual room held familiar breaths. You leave the note where it is and step outside. Section 46, your own quiet room. The museum disappears behind you, and you find yourself in a quiet room of your own. Perhaps there is a soft pillow beneath your head rather than a wooden crescent. Perhaps the floor is still rather than moving with waves or rails. Perhaps no courtier waits beyond the door, and no stranger shares the mattress. The room may seem ordinary, but history has changed the way you see it. The walls create privacy that many people once lacked. The bed remains ready instead of being packed away at dawn. Warmth arrives without a fire beneath the floor. A curtain can be opened or closed by your own choice. You do not need to decide which bedroom from history was best. Comfort belongs partly to habit, and tonight your body already knows this place. Let the painted Roman garden fade. Let the royal canopy grow dark. Let the railway pass beyond the horizon. The headrests, curtains, cupboards, platforms, hammocks, and berths can return to their galleries. Your own room is enough. The air moves quietly. The surface beneath you holds your weight. The world beyond the walls can continue without attention. There are no more doors to open. There are no more rooms to visit. History has gone to sleep. And now, whenever you are ready, you may do the same.